Well, I'm sure that many of you by now have seen the devastation that has been taking place in Israel, and I want to encourage everyone to pray. Pray for Israelite Christians and pray for Palestinian Christians to try and be an influence for good in this fight. Pray for people's safety. Pray that the threat of Hamas would all but evaporate. Now, it's safe to say that as this news has come out, it's prompted people to think about end times theology. So is what is happening now in Israel and Palestine, is it Bible prophecy? In one sense, the answer is yes. Listen to what Jesus says in Matthew 24. Jesus gives a description of what this entire period between his first and second coming will be characterized by. Look at verse 6. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. So here's the lesson. This entire period between Christ's first and second coming is characterized by continuous international rivalry. Now, the period from the 30s to the 60s in the Roman Empire was relatively peaceful, but there were wars in the East, and in the late 60s, the Roman Empire was torn apart by a terrible civil war. And Jesus wanted the disciples to recognize that in this age, it will be common for nation to rise up against nation. But even though they will hear of wars and they'll hear of rumors of wars, it should not cause them to enter into this kind of end times hysteria. These wars and rumors of wars, they don't necessarily mean that Christ's return is just around the corner. That's not what's happening. Jesus says, don't be alarmed when you hear of wars and rumors of wars. These kinds of things must take place. But also know that the end is not yet here. There's more to come. There's a lesson here for us. We should not approach these signs that we read about in this passage in particular, even in the rest of the Bible, as some sort of countdown to the end of the world. No, what Jesus gives us instead are a catalog of the kinds of things that are going to happen between the first coming and the second coming of Christ. So things that all too easily would mislead followers into end times hysteria. You know, where we say to ourselves, oh, the end must be here. Look at what is happening around the world. Jesus must be coming back tomorrow. You see, all throughout this section of Scripture, Jesus is correcting this sort of inclination that people have to set a countdown schedule. The signs of the end are not intended to work that way. There will be many catastrophes, many critical moments in history when you will be tempted to think, oh, this must be the end. But don't be alarmed. Don't get overexcited. This is not yet. The end has not yet come. I mean, think about it in history. So many different people have been told to be the Antichrist. Mussolini, Hitler, all kinds of people. Think about the casualties in World War I. 40 million, 75 million killed in World War II. Think about the body count under Hitler. Absolutely devastating. No doubt it would have been very easy for Christians during that time period to come along and say, hey, this must be the end. But Jesus says, hey, slow down. This entire period will be characterized by continuous international rivalry. But there will be more to come. So yes, the devastation we're seeing in the Middle East right now is a sign that we're in the last days. Jesus said there will be wars and there will be rumors of wars. These terrible events that have taken place, they fall under this catalog of the kinds of things that Jesus predicted would be happening in the last days. But is it Bible prophecy in the sense that these specific events were predicted by the prophets or the apostles, you know, the way that the prophets predicted the Babylonian exile or something like that? No, it's not the same. Well, I hope you've learned some things from Matthew 24 and also some things from this video. Please continue to pray. Pray that God's will would be done, and pray for the safety of people, and also, of course, pray for the souls of people. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and God bless you in the way.